Sarri, criticised by the home fans really throughout that second half. We will, I promise, give credit to Manchester United a little bit later on because it was a good performance once again from Solskjaer's side. But the big talking point, surely, once again, is Maurizio Sarri.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've sat and talked about it now for a couple of weeks on this show, that to get results, you have to get the perfect result with the perfect team is fine. But when you're trying to play a certain way and it's not happening, you've got to tinker. You've got to tinker a little bit just to give the players something to think about and to get results. And that's very, very important, clearly, because he's on the brink. But the 2-0 defeat aside, the things that are embarrassing are the 4-3-3 constantly, which, by the way, they're playing Man City at the weekend in the League Cup, and he'll play 4-3-3 again, and he'll play Jorginho in the midfield again, and Kante out of position, and probably Kovacic or Barkley, and then he'll sub them. I mean, it's embarrassing. You know, the Willian for Pedro, like for like, and then it had to happen, didn't it? Barkley on for Kovacic. But I tell you what, Dan, something that's almost a sacking offence in itself, bearing in mind the scenario, is bringing on Zappacosta for Azpilicueta. Now, I don't care if Azpilicueta's leg was hanging off and he had to go off. You got Hudson-Odoi on the bench and Giroud, and you're 2-0 down. That's the worst substitution I've seen in professional football for many a year.
Stevie, you made the point when we were watching the game, Chelsea could play till midnight and not score.
No, no movement, no excitement, no character, no strength, no nothing. Just you know, Jorginho's affecting everybody else because they all seem to think what he's doing is okay, so they're off passing the ball 5 yards sideways. I mean, Manchester United had a great defensive shape, but all they had to do was go from side to side. There was no movement in behind, nobody trying little 1-2s. I mean, absolutely nothing. So when that's happening, it's down to the manager to change something. And the fact that he doesn't is why I'm sitting saying they could be here till midnight and still not score. They're at home, and the opposition goalie's not a save to make. I mean, just awful.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure what to add about Chelsea here. I mean, the thing is, Maurizio Sarri comes in, he's brought in, inherits the seat from Antonio Conte, who won the league. A lot of expectation about him, and then he's out-coached by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
But he started so well. His tenure was so strong, wasn't it, initially?
It started well, but then you figured Chelsea out. You know that everything is going to go through Jorginho. You know that he's not going to do anything defensively. He's not going to run by defenders. He's going to look to pick a pass. You don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on him because he's not going to do anything other than that either. So you stand off him and just make sure the channels are cut off. And he is totally ineffective. He more than ineffective, he's a liability. And once you find that out, once you figure that out, then you've got Chelsea to hang. And then their striker situation, all right, Higuain comes in later on, maybe he changes things. But outside of that, you're getting nothing going forward other than from Eden Hazard. So as long as he's taken care of, Chelsea have nothing else to offer. Absolutely nothing.
Do you know, we talked about Sarri before, about when he didn't have his coaching staff in the dressing room a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
You need... A game like tonight is exactly why you need your staff. You need to turn to the guy next to you. And by the way, it wasn't Zola tonight. I don't know where he was. You need to turn to the guy next to you and go, right, we need to do something here. What do you think? You know, what do we change? Who do we take off? Do we change the shape of the team? These are all the things that you talk to your assistant about. And he clearly doesn't.
But at the same time, it's not rocket science, though, Stevie. And Craig points it out.
But it shouldn't be, but clearly it is for him.
You've got the likes of Hudson-Odoi. And I was looking at some comments made by Zola over the course of the week that he's right on the fringe and he's nearly into the first team. All of a sudden, as soon as Bayern Munich show interest, Chelsea all of a sudden decide Hudson-Odoi is a good player and worth keeping. Yet still, you don't play him. You're making all the noises to the press about Hudson-Odoi and how important he is and how good a talent he is, yet you don't play him. He's played 13 minutes since the close of the transfer window, once the Bayern Munich door shut for right now. So it really is, if I were a Chelsea fan, I'd be ripping my hair out because nothing that Sarri is doing is making any kind of sense when it should be obvious.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's... the one way to look at it at the moment is, and there's no other way to put it, at the moment it looks as if, this is Sarri I'm talking about, he's out his depth. Yep. All right, I know he managed in Italy and I know he managed at Napoli. That's fine. He had some certain players, he played a certain way, got a great amount of points, didn't win anything. Oh, by the way, crashed out the Champions League as well, then threw the Europa League in because he thought he was going to go for the Serie A title and he didn't get it. But what the hell were they doing in Serie A about Jorginho? I mean, this supposedly great tactical league has allowed this guy to play the same system every week, week in, week out. And I know he had Hamzik and Ed Allen next to him, and they're probably better at that position than the two Chelsea guys at the moment. Well, for sure they are. But what were the other teams doing about him? So this guy was walking about as if he was the king of the castle with the 5-yard passes. And all of a sudden now, you got teams putting, like Arsenal put Ramsey on him. Other teams have put players on him. You got... tonight they put Juan Mata on him. They had no wide players in Lingard or Martial, so they lost the pace. Mata can't play out there because he's not quick enough. So I play a narrow midfield with Pogba one side, Matic sitting and Herrera the other, and I plunk Juan Mata behind, and that, oh, by the way, that puts him on Jorginho as well, and that allows me to put two strikers on the field. Here's a manager who has got way less experience than his counterpart, and he's actually thinking about it. He's actually thinking about the game. And as for Jorginho, I was listening to the commentary, and one of the commentators said, well, you know, Matic is in a predicament now because he's on a yellow card and he's not going to be able to make another tackle. Well, Chelsea have got a midfielder. It doesn't matter if he's on a card or not. He can't make a tackle anyway.
Stevie, what's happening?
Scary.
What's happening in training day to day with
4-3-3. That's what they work on.
You might have
noticed.
This has gone like. How does this work day to day? Because the players, they're not idiots. They can see surely that this isn't working.
Well, you know, it's not always about the system. Sometimes it's about the players wanting to play and the players turning nothing into something.
Right.
And to do that, you have to be at it every day. Because when we watch Chelsea now, clearly during the week, they're not training sharply. I would guess that Sarri's spending so much time on the training field trying to point this out, point that out, stopping it, trying to talk to players that they're not getting their work in. Because when you saw them in this game, they were not sharp whatsoever. So not only is he not changing, you've got a bunch of players who are losing the sharpness because I don't think they'll be training properly because Sarri's just so stuck in trying to do this 4-3-3 that everything's beginning to disappear.
But I thought, you mentioned Alonso, who was so key to Conte's success a couple of seasons ago.
As a wing-back.
As a wing-back, yep.
He just looks completely lost. Absolutely lost. So
you know what to do? Keep playing him.
Why?
And that's where we are. We're not only talking about the system, we're talking about the players, because the players are not doing it. You take Hazard out of that team. When that team goes forward, who's going to do anything?
How can a professional manager in charge of Chelsea not realise what he's doing is wrong?
Well, but that's he's not on tonight, Gab. That's the point we've all been making. The absolute nonsense that people come back. It is social media, so 99% of them are just clueless. Mm-hmm. But you know, there's no argument. There's no argument to say the position Sarri's in, right? And he might not get till Sunday. By the way, they're playing Man City.
Do you sack him tomorrow? Do you sack him tonight?
I honestly hate to be sitting saying you should be sacking the manager. But that's Chelsea's call. But you know, it's not going in the right direction. But I would put it that way. So he's probably what they probably give him the week. They might give him the weekend, and if they get a pasting, which is likely, he'll probably go. But my point is, and you can forget about beating Malmo, by the way, in the Europa League, which they did, and they've got, you know, look at the fixtures they've got coming up. So you know, he's probably a couple of games away anyway. But the point is, and this is what people that say Sarri's not going to change. Well, he's going to be sacked.
Yes.
The scenario is with any manager or any team, and Stevie's managed. You know, and we've all been in dressing rooms when things have not been going well. And every manager says, right, it's not what I want to do because I want to do things a certain way, but to buy myself a little bit of time at this club with an owner who does like to pull the trigger, I need to find a way to get the pressure off in the short term, to get through to the summer, be it top four or winning the Europa League, and give myself an opportunity to get rid of half a dozen and bring half a dozen in. If you think you're just going to keep plugging away the same way and it's pretty embarrassing, you're only going to get fired and make yourself look completely out of your depth.
Would you sack him, Stevie? Like, tonight?
What's going to change?
What,
Can you grasp any single thing that may turn this team around?
Without sacking the manager?
Absolutely nothing. You know, Gab and a lot of the people are saying, well, the way Sarri plays, it's a lot of different movements and a lot of different passes, right? In layman's terms, it's called pattern of play. And every single coach has a pattern of play that you can rely on when things are not going well. Every single one of Chelsea's players is an international footballer with huge experience. And nearly 9 months into the season, you're telling me that they haven't got it and you're still going to try and keep doing it? It's absolute madness.
I'll tell you what, as much as I'm tempted to agree with you, Steve, you question about who comes in for Maurizio Sarri, who turns things around. You only have to look at the other dugout tonight to see what a difference. Because we were asking the same questions around Jose Mourinho and who would come in. And then all of a sudden, Solskjaer was brought in, and everybody felt, and probably was right at the time, that this was just an appointment to make the fans happy, that the fans were one of their own. But look at the turnaround you've now witnessed from Manchester United. Now, if you're Chelsea, you're out of the FA Cup, you probably will be out of the League Cup soon enough. You're out of the top four just by a point. Doesn't make sense to bring somebody in who maybe and hope that they have an effect that Solskjaer did with Manchester United.
I mean, let me just say this to you again. Let me just repeat this. 82 minutes, 2-0 down, Zappacosta for Azpilicueta. Do you know, when Roman Abramovich has people talking to him about what's going on, and he will, what do you think they'll be saying? Because he'll be asking. I'm sure he's got some knowledge, but, you know, there'll be other people who have more knowledge, and they'll be saying, well, you know, you might miss out in Champions League again next year because your team not playing well, the fans are unhappy, but you've got a manager who won't change his system. You've got a manager who, it seems, can't make substitutions that are any different. It's almost like he's planned them, you know, days before. And you've got a manager at the moment who the players seemingly don't believe in, and the crowd certainly don't believe in him at the moment. They've got no interest what he did in Italy and how his team played in Italy. The only thing they care about is what's happened at Chelsea. And I tell you, you know,
it was interesting. Mark Ogden said the last time he heard a crowd turn on a manager, as they did today at Stamford Bridge, was when he was at Anfield for Roy Hodgson's last game, and he was sacked in the morning.